I think it's a very short list, it may be no list, of teams better than them in the NFC. There are teams that may have quarterbacks that are taller, they may have more experienced coaches, but right now, find a team in the NFC that has a greater self-identity than Philadelphia. They know exactly what they are, and it's hard to prepare for them. And I say this about Lamar Jackson. Like, how do you prepare for Philadelphia? Your quarterback doesn't move like that. You won't face another offense like that.
Hey, I don't hear anymore. Chiefs fans. See ya.
Obviously, we put the blueprint out there. Hopefully, Cowboys watch the tape. Yeah, he wasn't completing passes when he had to roll behind or outside, and those tackles kick so much that it invites you to pick a side and let him go. Because Jalen's looking at the rush every play. So yeah, you just have to be disciplined and not give him that quick escape route where he could get to his guys quick, and it paid off. And our back end played awesome.
Welcome into Unfiltered Sports. I am Todd Fox, and I'm here to tell you guys about the Philadelphia Eagles. We must talk about the Eagles. Now, again, most people tend to forget, including the ones in the media, as you saw in the beginning of the video, the fact that usually Super Bowl losers don't ever repeat or go back to the Super Bowl because it's freaking difficult. You got a target on your back. Certain things happen to teams when they don't win the Super Bowls. Yes, there are exceptions, and if you want to write those teams in the comments, like the Patriots and a few others that have lost the Super Bowl and have come back to either win a Super Bowl or get back to a Super Bowl, yeah, you've had those Buffalo Bills teams. I get it. But for the majority of the time since the salary cap era has kicked in the NFL teams that lose Super Bowls usually don't return. They usually have bad times in the playoffs, or they don't even make the playoffs the following year. And Philadelphia fans, they're notorious for being hard on their team. They're notorious for ragging on even Santa Claus. Go back in the day when Santa Claus was in the veterinarian stadium, or the vet as they used to call it, veteran stadium, I'm sorry. And Santa Claus was going through and they booed him at halftime. Philly fans are some of the hardest fans to please, and the Philadelphia Eagles hold themselves to a standard as long as their fans do, as well as Philly fans, 76er fans, Flyers fans. They're a tough breed, a different breed of fan, and that's why they clash so much with the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys love the arrogance of being the number one team, America's team, and Philly is jealous of that and wants to put some plaques up there. And when they finally got their Super Bowl, their legitimate Super Bowl ring a few years ago, minus Carson Wentz and an improbable victory under Doug Peterson, it didn't take long for the Eagles to get rid of that Super Bowl winning coach. Now, Nick Sirianni comes around, and he's got the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl last year, but they lose the Super Bowl. And Jalen Hurts was held to this higher standard, and you got the tush push, you got the brotherly shove, and the Eagles are flying high at 10-1 this year. And all that talk that, I wasn't on this network before, but on my side show where we were doing the weekly picks, I was saying, along with my boy Carlos, that, hey, man, 10-1, you're not blowing me away. I'm waiting for the curse to kick in. I'm waiting for the Eagles to fall apart. And you can go back. I could put the video stuff up there, the video clips as proof. We were calling this a long time ago. The only thing that just boggles my mind, as we showed the Nick Bosa clip too, of him explaining the fact that, hey, we gave you the blueprint, Cowboys. And once the Niners stopped the Philadelphia Eagles and what they were trying to accomplish as an offense, the defense began to get exposed. Because if you look at the 10-1 Eagles, if you look at the two teams, because it's two different teams. The 10-1 Eagles are one team this year. The 1-6 Eagles are another. And you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. At some point, we're going to do a video on them as well. Both teams returning from the Super Bowl last year, the winner and the loser, have not been impressive. They've not been your 49ers or your Ravens, who have just gone through dominating everything and everybody. The thing is that the Kansas City Chiefs are winning unimpressively. and they're not really blowing teams out. They don't have the receivers. You can kind of like make excuses for them. They're not getting the penalty calls that they did last year and stuff like that. There's excuses for the Chiefs, and there's excuses for the Eagles. You could say some of their veteran team now, but then you look at it and said, you got stars everywhere. You guys were 10-1. Yeah, you weren't impressive either. Although they were 10-1, they were still ranked up there above the 49ers because you thought the road to the Super Bowl was going to go through Philadelphia. You really did. You looked at the Kansas City Chiefs and you're like, well, you can explain it. They don't have the weapons. They don't have Tyreek Hills. They don't have these other guys. They have injuries at receivers, most drops in the NFL, blah, 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 blah. But you look at the Eagles and you're like, they're still winning, though. They're still winning. They got that unstoppable play. You can't stop it. And for all the talk that the Eagles did going into that game with the 49ers, the Niners kind of kept their mouth shut. And since the Niners lost that game last year, all the talk was, well, if Brock Purdy was there, that's a different outcome. And I'm not a Niner fan at all. I hate the Niners. But I'm a real guy, and I'll tell you, hey, man, respect where respect is due. The Niners had the best overall talent last year and this year. It's their Super Bowl to lose this year. And you're like literally poking a bear, a sleeping giant. And you're talking smack. I could see if the Eagles are the returning Super Bowl champs, but they're not. And facts are facts. You had no quarterback for the Niners. Christian McCaffrey was acting like a quarterback in that NFC Championship game last year. So there was a lot of buildup before that game. And the Niners in that Bosa clip said, hey, you don't give him that run up the middle. You don't give him that look, that free look down the middle to where he can spot a receiver on the run. Like he could fake run, then just get out of the pocket and fling it down the field or scramble for 20 to 30 yards. And all those 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, always converted. They stopped that. And the Niners blitzed. And the Eagles' only out was, we got to throw the ball quickly. But when you're blitzing, the corners and safeties are pressing the receiver. So instead of going down the field, taking a one-on-one shot down the field with the receiver, reading the blitz first off, and recognizing the fact that you got one-on-one on maybe one side or both sides, Jalen Hurts wasn't capable and is not capable in the last 7 weeks to get or throw an accurate ball down the field. Instead, he's throwing a wide receiver screen to where the receiver gets hammered because the defense is already on the line. Or he's getting sacked and hit. When he gets flushed out on the run, he's not as accurate. He got, like Bosa said, exposed. And after the Niners put the beat down, the Cowboys put the beat down. The Seahawks beat them at home. Whether, you want to say it was fluke or not. The key to the Eagles' success, yes, they have Fletcher Cox and a bunch of other veterans on that defense, a bunch of young guys too. But if you look at that team in a nutshell, the Eagles really don't have the talent that everybody thought they did. It's just like any other team. If you can keep their offense off the field and work the defense with your offense and take time of possession, it changes the game dramatically. And all these pundits that are on ESPN, FS1, that just love to talk who's hot now, instead of looking the big picture, it's always overreaction Monday. And I get it. The NFL's one game a week. And you got to wait another week to play another game. But these are the same morons that are telling you that the Jets are going to the Super Bowl, not realizing that injuries can happen. Maybe the Jets would have been in the AFC Championship. We don't know because it never got there. But they're too busy talking Cowboys, too busy talking Eagles. And what usually happens in these scenarios? Wild card teams make a run and knock off your number one contenders. Knock off your number twos. There are some big playoff games coming up this week. where I don't think C.J. Stroud is your normal average rookie. Some people are like, oh, it's Lamar Jackson's Super Bowl to lose. He's MVP. Based on what? The Ravens didn't have the hardest schedule out there. Everyone in their division had quarterback issues. And they still got beat by the Steelers twice. One counted, one, I know they rested their starters. But come on now. They had a clear shot. And they looked dominant at times. But they're going on their second or third string running back. They have injuries as well. They're not exactly healthy. And they're going to be sleeping for 3 weeks before they play a game this upcoming week. Same thing with the 49ers. Nothing's a given. Too much rest sometimes can be detrimental just as much as playing week after week. But sometimes, and especially in the NFL where you get one shot, if things don't start right like they didn't for the Cowboys, they got punched in the face right away and kept taking punches, and then before they could actually punch back, it was too late. And that's what happened with the Eagles when they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers played their ass off and really put it to the Buccaneers. Put it to the Eagles. They put it to the Eagles big time because they were showing in a 32-9 victory for a team that started 10-1 and was just sheer dominance. Finished the season 1-6. That's crazy. 1-6. Baker Mayfield had the game of his life, 22 of 36, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And if you look at Mike Evans' drop in the end zone, he had a couple other drops. The tight end, let me see his name right here, Cade Otton, 8 catches, 89 yards. He dropped like 3 or 4 passes. Baker Mayfield had a couple other drops by David Moore. They could have really crushed the Eagles in this game. Because of those drops early on in the game, 6 drops, I believe, in the first half, the game could have been out of hand before it even got to halftime. Jalen Hurts, 25 of 35, 1 touchdown, sack 3 times. They only ran the ball 10 times with DeAndre Swift, 34 yards. You know why? If you keep doing the same things over and over, things will not change. If you do not adjust, you're going to get the same result. Tampa Bay said, you know what? We're going to disguise blitzes. We're going to blitz you. We're going to fall back into coverage. We're just going to make your life a living hell until you figure it out or start to figure it out. And newsflash, for the 7th straight week since the Niner game, Jalen Hurts could not figure it out. If he couldn't figure it out against the Cardinals, he's not going to figure it out against the Bucs. This is a copycat league. When Bosa said, hey, we gave you guys the blueprint, Dallas. Dallas took it. Seattle took it. Everyone else who played the Eagles down the stretch took it, Tampa Bay included. They blitzed the hell out of Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts did not know to take shots down the field. I think he only did it once. He couldn't read the defense because every time I saw him get blitzed up the middle, he freaked out and just threw the ball without even looking. Lucky he wasn't picked off more. He hadn't had no interceptions, but he should have had at least a couple in this game. And then there was a play, number 35 for the Buccaneers on coverage. I thought was brilliant. And it was almost to the point where I'm tired of seeing refs just throwing flags for the hell of it. But literally, he was on coverage on one of the receivers, and the receiver jumped into him. And as ticky-tack as this league is, I thought they were going to throw a flag. But the corner was playing the ball, and the ball was not thrown in the right spot because of a blitz. Instead of on the outside, it was thrown on the inside. The receiver jumped into him, made all kind of contact, and the Eagles fans want to scream, yell, kick, and cry that should have been a PI. What's a corner supposed to do? Because the ball's not in the right spot, move out of the way? He's playing the ball too. He has every right. So you have plays like that maybe would have went the Eagles' way, didn't go their way. And the Bucs just bullied them with good throws. I thought the Bucs would try to run it down the Eagles' throat. No, they're passing because the secondary was out there so long. They were abusing that secondary. It was crazy. This is not the same. So now it begs the question, getting back to Nick Sirianni. Jalen Hurts was asked, hey, are you going to miss Nick Sirianni? And his response was, is he gone? The reporter said, no, but I'm just asking if he is gone. He's like, well, he's not gone, so I don't have an answer for you. And that goes back to my point when I first started the video. Philly fans are freaking tough. They're obnoxious. They're a different breed, literally a different breed of fans. And I'm sorry if I offend some of you Eagles fans, but it's just the truth. And the fact of the matter is, this guy like Doug Peterson, and I know Eagles fans in the comments are going to say, Doug Peterson didn't do this and this and this after the Super Bowl. That guy got you a Super Bowl. Literally. The only one in your goddamn franchise. I think he deserved a couple more years at least. But you guys were fed up with him so quickly because you don't understand how hard it is to make a Super Bowl, let alone another Super Bowl and another Super Bowl. You had Andy Reid there getting to NFC Championship after NFC Championship. He got to the Super Bowl, couldn't get it done. Look what he's done in Kansas City. Maybe he just didn't have the right players at the time. But something here, I might have to side with the Eagles fans on this. Which usually they're so overreacting, like ESPN fans, like they want stuff now. It's got to be perfect now. But I might side with you on this one. I've never seen a team collapse like this Eagles team did. 10-1 to just 1-6. The pride of the NFC to just floundering in the postseason, or not even most Eagle fans had any faith against the Tampa Bay Bucks, who were in the worst division in all of football as far as winning percentage. 9-8 got you the division. And you weren't favored? You limped into the postseason. Something in the leadership, whether it's Jalen Hurts, combination of Nick Sirianni, or the team itself, lost all confidence, and that's the coaching issue. Because to me, if you're exposed by Bosa, okay, you get exposed that week. Maybe you get exposed against Dallas. You clean that shit up. You don't let it fester. And not only fester, you don't let it get into the postseason. The culture or the attitude or the direction or the play calling needed to change. Someone needed to have a meeting and realize none of this stuff is working. We have to fix it now. And they didn't do that. And that's why they had the early exit. Just one man's opinion.
Welcome to the Unfiltered Sports Network, where we believe in keeping it real and telling it like it is. No more are the days of sugarcoating or ESPN-style politically correct takes. No. This is the place where real sports fans gather to talk about the stuff that truly matters. From the latest headlines, transactions, to controversial news, we've got you covered. Join us as we dive into the unfiltered world of sports, where passion meets authenticity. Hit that like and subscribe button for more raw, honest, and uncensored discussions that will leave you craving for more. This is the Unfiltered Sports Network, where real sports fans talk about real shit.